Hello and welcome to the role-playing game. So, last we left off, I don't know if you guys remember what was going on. Do you guys remember?
I feel like we're not really in good shape right now.
Dun, dun, dun.
Your last session, I feel like I got left behind, but I don't remember if that's I missed half the session or I wasn't there or something.
You did get kind of left behind. You ran out of magic, so you're just kind of hanging out, as I remember, in the woods.
My notes say, Princess stays back.
Yeah. You did, kind of, after you left, you had planned to do a magic spell, so you did a magic spell, an icy grasp. It was very powerful. Something seemed to amplify its magic. It's my dog. Also, I'll continue the rebrief unless, Triticor, you have any extra notes that you remember where we left off?
I'm actually kind of reading it right now. Let's see. On this, you sent some stuff over on Discord, right?
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll read you guys basically all of this. Little half of the recap, probably. After you guys entered the forest, leaving Iron Haven, you guys went and followed some goblin tracks, and actually went down into a dungeon, and there was fire and goblins, and it was pretty terrifying. And you found a lot of gold, and there was also this massive fire down there. You did meet Glaphorin back at in the woods near the Pine Grove, which you guys were attacked by some geese along the way, and you guys are headed to Ozar is the plan. But you guys are securing an outpost in the Pine Grove. And last we left off, you guys had to basically attack this elven stronghold of the Empire. Some wood elves are assisting you with Glaphorin, the elf, as well as some gnomes, which Cassandra spoke with. But you guys, Cassandra's held back, but Triticor and Lorna snuck in, lit some crazy fires, and made a huge distraction. And nevertheless, the elves eventually caught on to you, and some of them are kind of surrounding you. That's kind of where we left off. And Triticor and Lorna and the knights are all there, and there's a good host of elves to outnumber you. Cassandra fell back, but my plan really is to briefly overline some of these events that I sent you. So we'll start here and just kind of see how the battle heads off. I know you guys might have had a plan to attack right as you're being surrounded. You guys can certainly tell me if you need any more information, but there are knights in red plate armor. There's some ambient fires on some tents, numerous tents and buildings around you in this pine grove of trees. And you've got some allies, some elves as well, who are attacking with you against these other elves. And you guys are being surrounded, but you guys should tell me what you want to do. And I'm going to have you roll some dice. I'll roll for you if you don't have dice.
I have a clarifying question. So just to clarify, Cassandra is unable to see the battle, away from the battlefield, and completely out of spell slots.
Yeah, you can kind of see the battle. Okay, but yeah, so mostly Triticor and Lorna. What are you guys going to do? We'll get to Cassie later.
Let's see. So as we're getting surrounded, let's see. Sorry, I'm just taking a look real quick.
What's immediately by us?
Immediately by you, you've got some allies behind you and some enemies right around you on basically all sides. A couple feet away, as it were, perhaps. But definitely kind of locked in an engagement, as with swords. You guys, as I recall, might be kind of trying to back up, and there's some knights who are perhaps defending you on either side. But there's still some enemies on the front, at least. But you can, move around or do whatever you want in this situation. Yeah, what are you going to do, Lorna?
I would like to throw a knife at the closest. Are they red elves?
Yeah, sure. They're dressed in red.
Yeah. The closest one of them. I want to try to throw a knife. I'm trying to aim for the throat.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll your attack.
18.
And yeah, I'm gonna say that that's a good strike on him. Definitely effective hit. You can roll damage as well.
Okay.
What about you, Triticor? What are you gonna do?
I guess I'll do an armed attack as well. I feel like I am gonna do a running strike with my kick, straight through the air, with one foot up and kick right into the chest.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel like
epic.
that feels pretty fun,
Yeah,
Give them a
roll.
little helping with their breathing, Looks like they're struggling with the fire around. Maybe help them out a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Roll your attack. Lorna, what was your damage?
I got 3, or let's see, 5. 1d4 plus 2. So 5.
Nice, amazing. Yeah, I think you're gonna be able to take out that guard. He falls down to the ground, kind of like on his knees and then on his face and clutching at his throat, gagging. Triticor, what did you roll?
I rolled a 14 to hit.
Okay.
Or I rolled a 14.
Go ahead and roll some damage for me.
Second.
You guys are definitely able to, deal a little bit of damage. Perhaps knock this guy back, Triticor, into some other knights.
Yeah. So I rolled a. Sorry.
What's your damage?
A D4 plus 3, so 7.
Nice. There are also a host of elves who come up and, you can almost see the trees on the outskirts of town shrinking away, moving about, as well as you, Cassandra, might be able to notice some strange movement in the trees. And, vines from the ground reach out to attack, as well as these red elves, as it were, sending out bolts of lightning towards their allies, as well as bursts of fire. And you guys, Lorna and Triticor, go ahead and roll for me a couple dexterity saves. Go ahead and do 3 dexterity saves, as you are going to be pummeled by outnumbering force of elves with swords and arrows and magic spells and the like.
All right.
See how long you guys can withstand this onslaught.
Do you want to hear all 3?
I do.
I got 9, 14, 12. Womp womp.
So with the modifier, I got 13, 13, 19.
Oh. I didn't add mine. For dexterity?
For your dexterity save, yeah.
Oh.
You can just add your dexterity modifier.
11, 16, 14.
Okay, a little better. Yeah, you guys are pretty dexterous. You're able to dodge a number of blows. I'd say you both get at least like a kind of a glancing blow that throws you off balance, perhaps, and kind of leaves you open, as well as getting a decent strike, perhaps after that deals some good damage to you. Not sure how much health you guys had left, but I would say
I'm
a
at half.
large arrow comes and strikes you, Lorna, for 2 damage. Triticor, there's a blade that slices across your torso for also 2 damage.
Okay. Yeah, I
Um,
don't have my character sheet, like my one that I had. I just have the one on the Discord. So I don't know where my last HP was at.
That's okay. You guys are low on health. You guys probably will succumb during this battle. But the vigor that you have instilled in these allies to initiate this attack will be victorious. So you guys at least have another attack before that happens. What do you guys want to do before you try to dodge again?
Well, firstly, I want to chug my potion of healing.
Okay. You can do that.
How much does it give me back?
So it's going to be D4 plus 2, I believe. So you kind of, I would say, get back behind your teammates in order to drink this. It's probably going to take your turn. What about you? Oh, sorry. What's your healing?
Oh, 4.
Nice.
So now I'm at 9 out of 15.
Triticor, what are you going to do?
I think I will do. Another unarmored attack. With another elf right next to me. I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely. There's this sword elf.
The sword elf. Well, I am not quite too pleased with the slash across the chest. So I want to try to disarm him by going up to him and going up to his sword arm and hitting his elbow from beneath and trying to dislocate the elbow and flipping the sword over and grabbing it in midair. So I have the sword.
You filthy human. Go ahead and roll for it.
Let's see. 14.
Okay. Not too bad. I'd say it's a decent hit. If not dislocated, you still hit him. He perhaps not completely disarmed, but off balance, as it were. Loosened his grip on his weapon, perhaps dropped it with one hand, but has it with another. So you can deal some damage as well if you want to roll that, Kyle. And after this damage, both of you also roll 3 more dexterity saves.
No. My potion.
While you guys are rolling, feel free to tell me your numbers, but we're going to hop over and visit Cassandra, who is hiding off at the edge of the woods with her faithful errant knight, Joseph, as well as a very small wood gnome who is kind of keeping an eye on the battle as best he can from safety with his funny little red hat. And he sees the gnomes up and attacking in the trees from their hidden rope ladders and whatnot, throwing rocks and strange potions down. But Cassandra, you're kind of just trying to take refuge and perhaps find a spot to rest. What exactly would you be doing?
I mean, realistically, if I can see the battle but can't currently intervene, probably sitting there very anxiously wanting to join, and just kind of glancing at every corner of the battlefield, just head rotating very quickly as I just try and watch everything, and the equivalent of nail biting, though I'm far too proper to do so.
As you kind of see the ambient fires and the shadows and hear the clanking of swords and shouts, there's some hoofs falling, that kind of approaches you, and you see an elfin figure and a couple more behind him. Kind of not really approaching necessarily your hiding spot in the woods, but going along this road kind of towards you guys, and kind of off into the woods. As you see them approaching, you see the eyes of this elf fall into the light a little bit. He wears a red armor like the others, and you see him tucking some quills and like papers into his satchel and swinging it over his back before like hurrying his horse along. And you see his face. He's got like a large scar prominently, like a burn across the center of his face, which contrasts like his beautiful elven features, really. But it's pretty scary, honestly, for you, because you were not expecting them to be coming at all. And this strange figure kind of strikes fear into you. What do you guys want to? What do you want to do, Cassandra, about these passing elves?
Do I am I completely out of spell slots, or can I like have like one level 0 spell slot left?
So one thing I was going to mention two things actually. First one I'll say now. Your robes. I don't know if you were wearing your robes from the 6th word, but they would grant you a spell slot, like a 0 spell slot.
Yes, I do. I have that note on here.
I think you could don those and have a slot. Quite quickly.
In that case, I'm gonna like hurriedly pull it over my shoulders, and I would like to cast Prestidigitation, and create essentially. I can't really create like a minor illusion with it, but I would like to create a noise around the horses. I want the horses to believe that there is some animal in their path. I don't know if you've ever ridden a horse, but they spook surprisingly easily. Like a squirrel runs in front of them and they buck and they freak out. So my goal is to spook these horses. Maybe like the sound of wolves way closer than is comfortable for them.
Okay, I could see that with the sound of wolves. I was gonna say you could spook one, the front one or the back two, but with wolves you could spook all three. Good idea. So yeah, you could do that. If you want to describe anything else about that, I'd say that's a success.
Only that
I would say one of them falls off the horse at least.
My only caveat being that if possible, I would have liked to make the sound come from the other side of them that is not me. So if the humans the humans would all, or the elves would also hear it. So I don't want them looking in my direction.
I think you can pull that off. Okay, awesome. Yeah, the one falls off, the guy in front with the scarred face, the elf, and the others kind of slow as they approach to, allow him to safely rise. Anything you're gonna do during this time?
Well, my goal here was to. It sounds like there's reinforcements, so I'm trying to.
There's 3 elves.
Okay, so not heavy reinforcements. I'm trying to let the rest of my party kind of in that there's somebody coming up, possibly behind them.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, actually, these elves are fleeing the battle, and your allies are definitely aware of these elves. Joseph is kind of by your side, and this small gnome who's also with you. You guys they're crouching on either side of you, perhaps.
That's my only spell slot, to my knowledge, so it'd be very unwise of me to engage. I really want to, though. Is he still on the ground at this moment?
Yeah, he is.
And his satchel is over his shoulder, yes?
Yeah, perhaps, he would have spilled a quill and some papers. He might have to grab those as he rises.
So. He's surrounded by his men.
No, there's two other elves who are coming up towards him, yeah. So you could say that.
Does my knight have a ranged weapon?
I would say he has. I couldn't remember if he had a bow and arrow, but I would say he has something ranged for sure. What was that?
They usually have crossbows or something.
Yeah, I would definitely say that he actually picked up a bow, or at least like recently. So yeah, he'll pull out his crossbow, we'll say, and at your command, he's got it aimed at uh, the elf who's fallen down on the ground.
I'm going to touch him on his shoulder and say, "Cover me," and I'm going to pick up a rock if I can find like a fist-sized rock near me. 'Cause I don't have spell slots, and I am going to do my best to dart forward. And I would like to try and smash this rock across the top of his head. My goal being to pick up his papers. I don't know what they are, but they might be important, and I want to be helpful.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and roll like I guess just like a not too difficult, but I don't know, like an athletics check or something like that as you run over there. Just because there are also horses approaching, just gonna gauge how deftly you go. Because you could beat the horses, I guess. They're not like right there.
Does it have to be athletics? Could it be intelligence? Because that's a 3. I have -4 for athletics.
That's okay. If you want to add something that is intelligence based to your plan, I could let you roll intelligence.
That's fair. 3 it is.
Okay. You can definitely make it over to him like before the horses arrive, and kind of try to grab his papers. But he is also conscious right there. He'll grab your ankle or something and like, human child, what are you doing? Give me those back. He'll like try to fumble for his sword or something, but you can pretty much grab the papers there and try to start running away. But the two horses that are approaching here now are definitely like right on your tail at this point. And I assume you're gonna run back into the forest and they'll follow you.
Yes, if he's holding on to me, like, is he equivalently grappling me, or am I able to like take this rock out of my hand and like somehow hit him so he lets me go?
Yeah, I think you can hit him with that rock and get away. But you're still being followed by elves. What are you gonna do as you're running away?
I mean, I'm going to attempt to stealth into the bushes. Like, I'm going to sprint and try and like dive under the bushes, and ideally Joseph is covering me.
Yeah, I would say at that moment you hear an arrow kind of whiz past above you to the left towards one of these elves on horseback behind you. At this point, I'll say let's skip over to Triticor and Lorna. Did you guys roll your dexterity saves?
Yeah, I got 15, 10, and 15.
Okay, that's pretty good. I'd say you dodged, a flurry of kind of great swords and magic on all sides. Perhaps again, there's this archer in the back who's just like got a gleam in his eye out for you, who hits you with another arrow. Perhaps kind of deflecting off some of your maybe studs in your leather armor, and nevertheless leaves you with a heavy bruise. I would say of like 1 damage. Triticor, what did you roll?
I rolled at 13, 13, and 18.
Okay. Yeah, you I would say are definitely able to deftly dodge a blow or two. Nevertheless, you are hit with an onslaught of perhaps a great burst of thunder from an elfin warlock nearby, and another perhaps an arrow from a crossbow or just like a regular bow in the distance. Triticor will say you take 3 damage, perhaps falling down, wounded a bit. Not dead, but perhaps struggling to go on. Perhaps somebody needs to pat you on the back and say, "You'll be okay, pal." Or perhaps you'll bleed out. Who
You're
knows?
brave.
Because Lorna, though, you're still kicking it. You're definitely dodging. You're both dodging spectacularly. Lorna, what are you going to do for your next turn?
Who's close to me?
There's a ton of elves and your allies as well. Your allies, the knights are sending out, bolts from crossbows and swinging into these elves with their swords and clanking. And these wood elves are surprisingly deft as well.
Yeah, but not as deft as me.
That's the
I'm
plan.
gonna take my arrow and basically just try to shoot the closest guy between the eyes.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. I'm not going to give you disadvantage for shooting a close target with a bow or anything like that.
It's my classic move. So
go ahead and roll your damage. I mean, you're an elf. You can just shoot like a couple shots real quick. This is a thematic moment. Roll,
you don't even want me to
roll two
roll
attacks.
to hit? Just roll the damage.
No, roll 2 attacks to hit.
Oh, I was like, what?
You got 2 arrows in it. You're Legolas.
Oh, wow. The first one, I rolled a 19. And the second one is 16.
Amazing. You're just taking out like a couple elves each turn. Lorna, make another dexterity save for me.
No. Oh, it's a 20.
As you see, kind of, there are definitely these leader elves who have been distracted by the fire. There's like this clear commander who's commanding his men to send an onslaught of arrows towards your men. And there's also this like kind of priest elf from the other tent you sent on fire who's clearly distracted, but begins casting magical, like much more powerful magic than you've seen from these other elves, as well as just rallying troops to kind of attack and defend their encampment, which seems very threatening, as well as you see right next to you, kind of nearby, an elf you recognize, Thoranius, the former innkeep, who is kind of animating, actually, the corpse of his fallen allies to kind of come back to life as a zombie, kind of bloodied and swinging their limbs wildly at some of the wood elves next to you. And you see Thoranius, who kind of has a look in his eye for you, and all his zombies kind of come your way. But you definitely, kind of backflip or whatever out of the way and can do whatever you want. What do you want to do? You want to shoot them?
I want to firebolt them.
Oh, yeah, you do have that left. That will work. Roll your damage for that.
Okay.
I feel like this is going to be epic. You.
It was a 7. Oh, wait, let's see.
That's not bad. I think you're definitely going to, set these zombies aflame, which, if not outright killing them, will damage them over time and significantly incapacitate this force. I think you're also able to kind of singe Thoranius himself. What's that?
Ooh. Well, I'm laughing. Kind of a theatrical laugh, just because.
Oh, yeah. What does that sound like?
Just...
Yeah, okay.
Just kind of that, but more hysterical-ish.
You're the escaped one. I recognize you. Curse you! As he's getting burned by your large cinder and flame that you send out. Nevertheless, I mean, to really summarize, the battle goes on for some time, and we'll see. I mean, if you never fall, if you roll me another dex save, Lorna. There's just a host of elves just attacking you from all sides. This has a high.
It's gonna be a 7 from me.
Yeah, I would say you're definitely hit by several elves at once. Maybe some blunt force that just knocks you over the head, as well as some cuts and magical fire that kind of encompasses you. You take a lot of damage, and you definitely fall unconscious, both of you, Triticor and Lorna. We'll see how this resolves with Cassandra out in the woods. She's hiding, and you hear the thud as if perhaps this elf has fallen off. You see, in fact, a horse run off to one side. There's no elf on it anymore. And Joseph is now trying to reload his crossbow. You don't see the gnome child anywhere around, but you are trying to hide in a bush. Cassandra, do you want to roll a stealth check, as they're kind of looking for you, but you've hidden to a degree?
I really need to stop trying to do dexterity and strength-based things.
There is one elf on horseback looking for you, at least right now.
That's a 2.
I mean, what noise do you make?
I think she's tried to, like, Cassandra's tried to, like, dive into a bush, like she's seen, like, maybe warriors. Yeah, but believe it or not, bushes are sharp, and she's wearing a dress, and so, like, it snags her, and she's like, oh, damn, oh, curse the god. Like, just, like, as it scratched her dress, her arms are bleeding. She's just kind of cursing up a storm with a bush, trying to be quiet, but just not.
I found the child over here.
Touch.
Lord Eron. I found them, and he kind of like grabs at you, and really, he is probably a larger elf, much larger figure than you. Just kind of grasps you and lifts you up, perhaps by your neck, like says, "I've got the child." Yeah.
Can I have a like? Can I roll luck to just? I'm wondering, can the bush be holding on to me? Like, I've gotten myself so tangled in it that he like can try and lift me out of it, but I'm like velcroed onto it. Not in such a way that like he couldn't lift me out, but that there's a moment where he has to struggle where maybe I can escape.
Yeah, roll luck to see how difficult that moment is for him.
It's a fancy dress. That's a 12.
The child is encroached in a trap. He's definitely struggling there for a moment as you kind of see off in the corner of your eye. Joseph is just like has enough time to reload his crossbow and point it over towards you and fire a shot, which likely saves your life as it knocks this elf in the side of the helmet. You're not sure if it like pierced his helmet, but it knocks him over to the side, and you fall down into the bush below you and are struck again by pins and arrows, as it were. You'd probably take a damage, but you'll be okay. And the gnome is there beside you, who starts kind of helping you, pulling you out of the bush and to your feet and saying, "We must run, quick, to the other side of the woods, to the tree, to my home." And you can, all three of you can kind of retreat. There is the other elf who is gathering his quills and getting to his feet and kind of assessing what's going on. So I'm going to have you guys roll another, depending on your escape plan here, probably like a stealth check. What do you want to try to do, Cassandra?
Is it just me, Joseph, and the gnome, or are Tedacor and Lorena far enough back to retreat with us?
They're still at the battle. In fact, you're not sure what's happening with them right now. They're fighting in the battlefield. Leagues off.
I am going to follow this gnome, believing that he probably has a better idea of where he's going. And I would like to like meet up with Joseph as we follow him. I think yes, it's gonna be the only thing we're gonna be able to manage. I can't think of a way to get religion and a religion check in here.
No, yeah, good idea. Well, go ahead and roll yourself for me.
That's a nat 1.
Nat 1, amazing. The magic of the gnome seems to kind of cloak you guys as you move through the woods. Nevertheless, as you kind of like gesture and get Joseph towards you, he joins you, but not before you hear this crossbow, or just I guess a bow and arrow, probably, that this wood elf with the burned face has, who shoots it towards Joseph, and the arrow lands in his side, and he goes as he falls down to like one knee. And what are you gonna do?
I scream his name and rush to him, forgetting absolutely everything.
Lovely. The gnome as well is like, we must hurry.
Can I determine whether or not, like, has he been mortally wounded in a way where like making him get up and move is going to kill him? Can I make a medicine check or something?
Yeah, do it.
Oh well, that's a nat 1, so I'm.
Yeah, he's got an arrow, might be in him. Probably you need to move him.
I'm going to like push myself just like under his arm and attempt to drag him with us. All thoughts of stealth pretty much forgotten.
Yeah. Honestly, the elf with the scarred face kind of doesn't necessarily pursue you further. He tends to his men, it would seem, and things, and perhaps if you pay much attention, he flees. You can go kind of to the other side of this battlefield and kind of wait it out. In the morning, we find Lorna and Triticor awaken at the inn in the riverside in a somewhat familiar room. You guys aren't really sure what's happened, though, as you awaken, if you've been captured or if you guys won the battle. But you're at the inn in the riverside, so it bodes well. Is there anything you guys are going to do as you're in your room? You guys are just awakening. You guys are super sore, though.
This inn is familiar.
Yeah, if you might remember the inn at the riverside.
Let's see.
There was the washing wilt there. There was Thoranius there as well. And there's a market you once referenced where you bought some stuff. Glaforian was there. Anything you want to do, Lorna, as you're awakening in slight unsurety?
Yeah, I'm not feeling too good about it because I do associate it with Thoranius, but I'm gonna see what weapons I have on me. Like, did they take my stuff?
Yeah, you've got all your gear. At least
Okay.
like on your table nearby. You can strap up and get ready for the day. If you peek out of your room, you'll see actually down at the lobby. You're up on the second floor, kind of.
Yeah.
There are knights and the wood elves, the allied wood elves, kind of enjoying a drink together in the town. And really, you guys, all three of you, can be rejoined. Cassandra, you might come into this inn, which is like this clay building with stone by the riverside. It's got a large heath and, a fire burning. It's a nice little inn. There's wood elves and these knights of the word all about. How would you guys like to be reunited here in the lobby?
Is Joseph still like possibly mortally wounded wrapped around me as I drag him in?
No, he's resting, but conscious. There is actually a very skilled elven healer in the town who you perhaps would have seen briefly as some of the knights eventually greeted you in the morning upon victory. Many of the elves actually fled the battle, some of them anyway. There was much power. In fact, I forgot to mention some of the elven powers, but that's okay. Anyway, yeah, there's an elven healer attending to Joseph, so he should be okay, but he's not here. How would you guys like to greet each other, I suppose, knowing that?
How about we stumble down the stairs and we run into Lorna? I guess we shall go down. And
Yeah, I was
I
gonna go down and get ale.
Yeah, I guess we should go to the innkeep and ask ourselves how we came to be in the inn, who brought us here.
Yeah, pretty much behind the counter there is kind of familiar knight from your traveling group, Knights of the Word. He says, there's not really an innkeep currently, but, well, the elfin healer supported the battle greatly, who has attended to you both as well. You should rest up a bit more before venturing on, but we owe you a great solace. All the wood elves and everyone, thanks you for your efforts in the battle as well. And as far as how you came to be in the inn, the knights, tended to the wounded after a close victory in their battle. So there were many wounded, but Kor perhaps attended to, and there's Glawforin as well, who can account part of this tale.
I think.
Then-
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you first.
I was just gonna say, I think Cassie joins Tredacor and Lorena, and she's very, very downcast, having just she's probably hasn't left her knight's side the entire time. She's very worried about him, and she will come up to him. I'm glad to see that both of you are on your feet. It seems we've won.
Yes, I'm surprised we made it out, and honestly that we met back up. I say we drink to our success.
Yeah, you guys can have ale and hot toddies.
Ooh.
What do you say? Are you talking to Elizabeth?
No.
You muted. Oh, I just heard some ambient noise. I thought that was you in the other room. Sorry. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, anything else you guys want to get up to? You could go shopping in town. You can take a long rest as well, so you guys can go up to maximum health, and well, you can roll your health die basically. I don't know. And you can go shopping if you want. You can do whatever you want. In fact, yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. What do you guys want to do?
No,
I
and I
think we
won't
should
do.
well, yes, we should probably do our provisions, but I would like for us to be at full health, because
Yeah.
I am tired of this, being sick and tired of being at low health.
Yeah, well, you guys
No
do
more
a long
evil
rest,
fire, please.
so you can definitely get up to max health right now. Have a couple days to recuperate safely here at the recaptured Pine Grove city, small settlement that is.
Since we are in the inn, I'm looking at the map right now. We're north of the Poison Lake, right?
I would say not directly. It's pretty far to the east, but you are north of it. Northwest.
Let's see. We're the Pinewood.
Yes, you're at the Pinewood, at the inn at the Riverside. It might be called Riverside on your map.
Riverside,
or Pine
okay.
Grove.
So just south of Ozar?
Yeah, you guys will have to head to Ozar, Triticor. And yeah, we'll just kind of summarize these adventure points so we'll get a move on. There's definitely time here to do shopping and stuff, so we'll assume, you guys have anything you need. There is also Glawforin there who can accompany you, and there's this elven healer who is quite impressive, quite the magical scholar. And Joseph will reach full health again, and you guys can go off. And Triticor and the Knights must head to Ozar, so you guys do so, which takes a couple of days. The lands which you find as the snow falls in this dense pine forest, there is strange, perhaps drunken music which sounds from the city walls. You find the gates actually open. There is massed mayhem and celebration of dark witchcraft. There are dark flames in the streets of this strange, sandy kind of street with these strange stone buildings. And everyone's wearing super creepy masks, honestly. The elven inhabitants of this place, basically the Red Guard, which you fought. And everyone though it's a celebration time. You do find gallows though in the town square, quite abruptly, where Abraham, the one you have come to seek, will be seen quite easily, as well as other knights who have been captured and other men. And in their drunken splendor of their party, soon Abraham will be executed. So Triticor and Core, we must act fast in order to help them escape. Lorna, however, Core has asked you to have a special task. You're kind of off looting as much money as you can from the city, is your mission, should you choose to accept it, Lorna.
Accepted.
Amazing. Take this large coin purse and be on your way. You'll also have a knight of the word who will accompany you, at least one. Cassandra, you have a special mission as well. This place is not really safe for someone like you. Your magic will be useless within the walls. So you will hold a gatehouse outside the city, should you choose to accept your quest. But yeah, you don't have much choice. Triticor, what are you going to do? Abraham's going to be executed.
If he is executed?
No, you got to stop him. Core says to you, you could take that side and I'll take this side. We'll run up and help him escape. And he kind of signals to some of his men. What do you think, Triticor, wise man?
I think what we should do is, I think one person should set him loose, and then we should have a Hail Mary with you and your men, as in protecting him as he falls. I don't know the manner of the execution, if it is by hanging or if it's by beheading. I would like us to get into the city as undetected as possible, because I don't know what we are against.
Yeah. You guys can enter the city pretty easily. You guys can either take up a disguise, or honestly, you could probably go without one for a little while, just because everybody's wearing a disguise in the city. Like, they're wearing terrifying masks, not like you would think of like Halloween. Like, their outfits are actually like pretty scary, and some of them are pretty realistic. Like, some of them are, you see one or two, they're dressed up like a human. And they look like they're a real human. But they couldn't, you don't think they are. You think they're an elf who's dressed up like you. But yeah, you can basically go into the city. Are you guys going to take a disguise? You going to don Red Guard armor or anything like that?
Let's take some Red Guard armor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You'd have some back at the Battle of Pine Grove. So
yes.
You could
let's
start.
take some with us and wear it in. I don't know. We don't want to draw too much attention to ourselves, but we also don't have to try too hard. I know it's Ozar. Ozar don't give it too much attention to us.
I think that is a good disguise. I think it's very useful. What do you think? Basically, you guys have made it into the city. You find Abraham up on this block with this line of prisoners and men who will be executed in any number of these lovely fashions they have around. Everything you've mentioned, they've got wheels and mages who can kill you with magic of any sort. So whichever slot's open, Abraham's up soon. What do you guys want to
do? I turn to Core and his men, and I say, I am gonna work my way up towards the platform, and as we get closer to it, I am gonna use some of my chi. And let me see. I probably will do probably my step of the wind. Let's see. Just 1 second. Let me just double check on something.
Cool. Actually, while you're checking on that, let's actually go to Cassandra first. Because Cassandra, you're defending this gatehouse, this small kind of building outside the city. And you sense a strange magical energy kind of within the city, actually. And based off what Core said, you shouldn't go in there. Nevertheless, he said to hold out at this point. You've got a couple knights of the word with you, as well as your errant knight, Joseph. So you guys are kind of just defending this location, but there are some Redguard elves, a host of them, perhaps 4, we'll say. They're approaching from out of the city. They're coming your way. What would you like to do inside this small hut as they approach?
Well, ideally nothing. Is this the kind of checkpoint where, like, if they get close, like, they're gonna pass right next to us and they'll know that, like, it's taken for the enemy, or are they far enough away that, like, if we're quiet, they'll just pass us by?
If you try to hide, it might work. If you just stand there, they'll definitely see you. I mean, unless they're not paying any attention.
Okay, because we're not trying to start a war with the whole city. We won't win that.
Yeah, all
And
the knights around you are like, oh, kind of on alert, like someone's coming. They look to
let's
you.
definitely try and hide inside of this building so they don't see us.
Yeah, there's definitely, I'd say, like a counter there. You guys could all kind of just huddle back behind it. You'll all fit back there. The men are a bit big, perhaps, but it might work. You won't be seen, but its 3 knights might be seen. The foothooves. I can't talk about horse hooves right now tonight. Yes, the hooves are growing closer. Anything else you want to do, or are you just gonna hold your position there, Cassie? You've definitely got, like spells and stuff too.
I don't have any kind of, like, anything that would.
Yeah, I'm not sure if a spell would be useful, just offhand.
Yeah, that's fair. I think if I can cast Prestidigitation today, or again, to make a disturbance, like right as they're passing, like the ideal spot to see us, I would like to create some kind of disturbance to draw their attention on the other side of this road, so that maybe this is closely.
I think that works. What kind of disturbance you gonna do?
Um, are you familiar with the call of a bear when they're not growling? They sound. It's a weird sound. But I want to make it sound like there's a very large bear coming towards them. I don't know if this would speak the horse.
Oh.
Yeah, essentially.
But scarier.
With that noise, and the elves kind of looking that way right as they're passing you. One of them is looking that way. Next one's looking that way. More are approaching. We're hopping over to Lorna real quick. Lorna, you're just kind of like, you've got a mad dash. Everyone's distracted. They're just like drinking and making merriment. There's tons of buildings around that could have loot in them. What do you want to do? There's the palace as well, but it's kind of far off.
Oh.
I'm not sure how long your friends will be here either.
What building / business is closest? Like, what can I get to?
There's lots of residential, but the market square is where your allies are going as well. There's a lot of gallows and merriment there, but there's all kinds of shops around the outskirts of it as well, which would have some good wares at the least. There's a number of them. There's magic shops and just like weapon shops and clothes and all sorts of
And it's
basic goods.
basically like deserted because everyone's out.
It's not deserted. There's actually people really all about. There's elves all about, the Errigolds, as it were, and high elves and dark elves, and they all. I imagine many of them wear like those creepy masks, like that are like a dragon. They're like in dark clothes though, so lots of them are just like hanging out. But it's definitely not deserted. There's people on the streets. You mean the building itself? The shops aren't deserted. There's probably a shopkeep, a guard in there, maybe some shoppers, but they're all drinking. We'll say.
Okay.
They're watching the gallows as well outside. They're a bit distracted. Perhaps the guard is just like, oh.
Yeah, I think I actually am gonna try to stealth my way up to the palace. That seems like where the more money items are.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a dexterity formula.
Okay, 16.
Okay, you're running up to the palace, and you're making good time. Let's hop over to Triticor. Triticor, you were about to run up and do a key move to help save Abraham. What are you going to do?
So, let's see. I feel like so I'm gonna be using what I've learned within my monastery traditions, and I'm gonna be doing the way of, I forget. Did I tell you which one I chose?
I think you did, but if you wanted to change it, I mean, that might be fine.
I think I did the way of the open hand.
I think you.
Let's see. Or wait, let's see.
I mean, we'll allow it for right now. What do you want to do with the way of the open hand?
So I want to be able to sneak up closer up to the platform with a core behind me with his men waiting for my signal as I approach. And as these executions are happening, is it just one mage or is it multiple mages up there as the executioner?
There's at least one who's like the mage. There's other elves who might have magic around who are also executioners and guards.
Okay.
But there's a guard and there's a line of men, and Abraham's near the front. If that makes sense.
Okay.
There's a guard like nearby.
What I plan on doing is I am gonna be doing basically with my unarmed movement and the way of the open hand. I'm gonna spend my chi, and I am gonna do a fury of blows. One is gonna be I start running, and I am gonna do a quick slide kick and slide, and knock down the first guard elf and knock him down to the ground, and run up to the main mage and do an open palm punch straight into his face, hitting his nose as hard as I can and pushing his face right into the ground.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is a very effective plan. I mean, with your key, you can definitely do that.
And then as he's on the ground and do one more punch.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and roll your attacks and pretty much your damage. Honestly, you are going to have advantage on your attacks here, being that you're taking them unawares.
Okay. So
we'll just say you're going to hit your attacks. Go ahead and roll your damage.
So 1 second. So that is 6. 6.
6, the number of the beast. You just like annihilate these people as you do with your bare fist. The mage, taking him out, probably a good idea. He like falls down, kind of breaking this wooden platform that he's standing on as you just like pummel him into the ground, and you punch him a second time. The knights seeing this are definitely core is, men, let's go, signaling, and they're going up to free the Abraham and all the other enslaved men there. So you guys, are freeing them, and kind of the knights are rallying and kind of defending and kind of trying to escape out of the city. The way they said, "Core," so like, "Triticor, we must go, hurry." What are you gonna do, Triticor?
I grab Abraham, and I actually freed the other prisoners as well. And
Nice.
I do this not to have them be on our side, but I want to cause scatter them so it's more mayhem in the courtyard that we're in. Yeah. So that way that they're not just chasing us, but the other prisoners as well.
That's you, Triticor. Thank you for coming. The kind of pummeled Abraham speaks to you as you kind of free him. Yeah, what else are you gonna do? You can definitely like free, all the enslaved people there in the gallows, as it were, who are soon to be executed, and you guys can kind of make your escape. You've got all these knights who are defending against any elves who are, guarding them. But all the citizens in their masks are like taking them off and kind of looking at you now. What do you want to do?
I say we leave.
Yeah, Kor's like, we must go. Come on, Triticor. And all the men are, clanking swords with these enemy guards and taking them out deftly. You guys have pretty much overwhelmed the area quite quickly, but there will be reinforcements, no doubt, soon. Well, I'll hop over to Lorna real quick. You definitely made it to the palace quickly. You perhaps ran ahead from your escort, your guard, and he's also grabbing all the gold he can, trying to help you in your pursuits here. But you see a number of rare artifacts within the kind of the palace, with these fancy steps, kind of like Aladdin style, as you approach this main chamber. There's like this golden throne, there's no one in the front of the palace, surprisingly. There were a couple guards, but they didn't really, stop you from going in. You do see a couple men shuffling around up about. And now that you take a closer look, there's some guards posted near all the doorways nearby. Nevertheless, there's a number of shining artifacts like bowls and plates and swords and small trinkets near the throne, especially like just jewelry. What do you want to do, Lorna? Got your big purse.
Are the guards armed? How many are there?
There are armed guards. I'd say there's 3 guards in the room, but they're on the edges. Or kind of like in the hallway, not necessarily looking at you, like off in little hallways. There's one that's definitely looking at you, who's up in front. They're all armed. There's no one else really about. There's this grand staircase, actually. It's a big room. It goes back a ways. And you see an elf walking up above on the second floor in a fancy robe of white and gold.
I will simply walk up to the throne where all the artifacts are and just feel it out.
Yeah. You see, like, diamonds and rubies, necklaces and jewels. There's actually a golden platter full of such artifacts, as well as...
Where's the platter?
It's just on a little table next to the throne.
How high is the table?
It's like waist high.
Okay, then I will now... I'm at the throne, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend like I'm sort of worshiping and like bow down with my hands in front of me and just kind of graze the jewels and takes them into my hand and sleeve and pouch. And
Make
just
a stealth
keep,
check.
like, doing that until they notice.
I feel like
it's a 17.
Yeah, I feel like
It's a 19, actually.
the one elf who kind of like has an eye on you, kind of sees you worshiping and perhaps like kind of turns around to like deal with some other business while you're able to just like pocket a number of these jewels. Perhaps, I mean, honestly, as you continue this process, you get all of them. And, perhaps as you turn around, a couple of these large golden chalices as well. It's no problem. Nobody even notices you.
All right, then I will go upstairs.
I would say just as you're about to, you actually hear a large cry from outside the palace. And a number of the guards are like, oh, what's going on? It actually sounds like perhaps the men, perhaps Kor, like, ah!
Oh, good, it's happening.
Well, it's
okay,
happening.
yeah, I'm going upstairs.
Awesome. Yeah, you definitely hear like some guards going outside of the palace to see what's going on. You can shuffle up the stairs, perhaps past this important-looking robed man who's rushing downstairs to see what happens. Doesn't really even notice you. Let's hop over to Cassie real quick. You are waiting suspensefully while these elves are being distracted by your magic spell, and you guys are holding this outpost. All the elves do make it past without noticing you, and they're continuing on into the city towards Ozar. Would you like to do anything, or just keep hanging out there, Cassie?
I think we're just going to hold our position.
Cool. Respectable. In that case, anything? Anything you'd like to know? Anything you want to say during this time? Joseph is like, phew, that was a close one. Good job.
No, but since I have the time, I would like to virtually cast, I believe it's called Fog Cloud.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that. How big is that spell, do you know?
I am looking it up right now.
Cool. While you're looking that up, let's hop over to Lorna again real quick and see what you're doing upstairs in the palace.
What is the room layout, or like what does it look like up there?
There's
You said there was 2 hallways or something?
Up there, there's basically a hallway that goes around like the exterior of the square building, if that makes sense, the big main hall. So there's it's an open in the middle, and you can see down below. And there's just tons of rooms and hallways that shoot off at any point, down there. I would say also your bag is getting a little full, but there's certainly more treasures to be had here.
Yeah. Do any of these look like a bedroom?
I would say actually one of the paths is familiar. You were like a servant there for a day, but there's nothing up that way. You think probably the more expensive jewels are.
Well, I'm
straight
actually
ahead.
looking for another bag. That's why I want to go into a bedroom.
Do an investigation for me.
12.
Actually, yeah, I'd say you find a number of bags you could use.
I will take all the bags I find.
Yeah, you can take all the bags you can carry. And I'd say you can carry 2 or 3 more, and you can fill them with jewels and stuff as you go. Would you like to just loot all the rooms you can? Go ahead and you could just roll an investigation or something.
Well, is there a library or a place with sacred items?
Do an investigation.
1.
I would say you check a couple rooms. You didn't see anybody, but you're hearing a lot of noise from other elves and stuff around you. And
okay, then my brain goes into get the cash now mode.
Yeah, you're getting a little anxious, I'd say.
Okay. Then I'm going to just go back to the other plan and grab what I can and try to get out the back room.
Yeah, your bags I'd say your bags are completely plumb full. It weighs you down a little bit, in fact.
Yeah.
But you can run out. There's a number of guards and stuff who definitely give you a skeptical eye and look at you as you kind of jingling.
I'm also screaming like I'm scared, just
let's go.
Acting like I'm part of the commotion, just running out with it.
Or at least 2.
Okay. First one is 13. And the second one is also 13.
Okay. There's definitely some guards who, like I said, gave you a skeptical face and are lightly trailing you. Not necessarily they're concerned you're a murderer, but they're should I be concerned? They're keeping you in eyesight. But you're trying to escape, and they're kind of speeding up a little bit. Let's hop over to Triticor. You're trying to just escape with your men right now. you've got to defend yourself against some blows. Go ahead and make a dexterity save for me, Critical. As an elf who was just kind of standing in the crowd throws his mask on the ground and says, like, "They're invaders, humans," and he shoots this firebolt towards you.
All right. 16.
All right, yeah. I mean, you definitely, dodge the blunt of this firebolt, but it does still singe you, and you take like 1 damage from it. So not too bad, but you've got a little burn on your hairs, tiny bit thin. You're just like, what do you want to do? Want to kind of like help him escape, kind of try to defend, attack him? You could do whatever as you're running away.
As I do some retaliation. Nobody burns me and gets away with it. I pull out one of my handy dandy darts and I decide to throw it back at him as I am taking off this elf cloak that is red. I'm tired of it. They already know who we are.
Nice. Yeah. Go ahead and roll your attack for that dart.
Let's see. Well, I rolled a 15.
Nice. I mean, I would say you take that guy out and, perhaps stifle some of the retaliation he would bring with his loud mouth. In summary, I will say Lorna is able to basically escape the guards and rejoin with the knights in Triticor, and all the rescued, escaping men and captured folk who were in the Elven City, the Empire City. And you guys make it out kind of to the gatehouse. There are a number of elves there who are kind of blocking you, but they're coming in from outside the city. Triticor, you kind of see them. They might not know, but how would you engage with them? There's like 4 elves who are just entering the city.
We slow our run down to a pace.
Yeah, just kind of casual.
Yeah, we're just gonna start walking now.
Yeah, you check behind you. You've got a little bit of time before the angry mob reaches you. You can act casual for a moment.
Yeah, let's just kind of afternoon.
The elves kind of give you a nod as you go by. Lorna, I'll allow you to go ahead and make the stealth check here. We'll call it a deception. Actually, Triticor, do deception. Lorna, do stealth.
Okay, my stealth is a 22.
Yeah, I would say that represents like you rejoining the knights, Triticor.
Yeah, because it would have been sketch.
I rolled an 8.
For your deception, yeah. I'd say like, 3 of these elves kind of walk past you, but the last one kind of stops. And you actually recognize him from the Pine Grove battle. He was an elf who you saw, perhaps who you battled with, perhaps an elf who like wounded you severely. He kind of catches your eye and says like, kind of sniffs. There's a problem here, and he like goes to draw his sword and attack you, Triticor. But your weapon is your hand, so I mean, I'll give you a little bit of an advantage here. What are you going to do, Triticor? He's drawing his sword.
I grab him and I push him. Are we still going through the gates?
Yeah.
I grab him and I push him against the wall, and I have everybody else tell them to run, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, I would say that is a successful escape plan. Cassandra, you see all your allies here escaping through the gates now, and you notice this scuffle between a couple of these elves here. These other 3 elves who were kind of the ally of the elf who's fighting Triticor, like man to man. There's a little bit of a kerfuffle down there. You could try to help out if you want, or just kind of assist them in fleeing real quick. What do you want to do, Fancy?
Assist in fleeing.
Yeah. the layout of the land here, are we like right up against a forest? Is it like open wasteland?
There is a lot of forest. There's actually a river, a large river and a road, and kind of this fort, this little hut next to kind of, a few leagues away from the gatehouse of this large city wall. So mostly forest. Pine forest.
Like, is my gate? Is the place that I'm guarding like right up close to the gate, or am I still like hundreds of feet away from what's going on?
I would say less than 100 feet. In fact, you could also have moved towards the city, but without entering that magical kind of barrier I spoke of that you noticed. So I would say, if like 60 feet is convenient, you could reach that, I think.
Because I said earlier that I wanted to cast this fog cloud.
Oh, right.
The
I
range
forgot about that. Sorry.
of 120 feet and produces within that range a 20-foot sphere centered wherever I want it within range. Which I mean isn't the most ideal thing, but I would like to, since I've been casting that, I would have liked to have placed it essentially at the entrance to the woods. The idea being that like when everybody runs that direction, we can scatter without them knowing exactly which direction we're going. It creates some kind of cover.
Okay. So, let's help me figure this out. So say there's that weird aura that's midway between you and the gatehouse, and where Triticor is, and you're at the small, whatever it's called, little fort there. So are you how big's the aura again? Or how big's
20 foot. It's a 20-foot sphere that can be placed within 120 feet of my location.
Okay, yeah, so I'd say 30 feet from you, there's this magical aura. 30 feet from that, the gatehouse with Triticor and everybody, and you're back, obviously at the beginning with, your little friends there at the little hut. So where do you want to place it, at the gatehouse?
No, I was wanting to place it more to where we're running to our retreat, essentially, since I had been working on this my previous turn, as a kind of place to escape to.
Okay, so perfect. So back behind you. And how far about?
Ideally at the beginning of the woods, as far as 120 feet away.
Okay, yeah, you could definitely do that and create your lovely thick smoke, which kind of fills the area and totally, obscures vision that direction, which absolutely will aid in the escape here. Honestly, the Knights of the Word, as they're assisting these tired men, can still easily best a couple of these elves here who are trying to prevent you from fleeing and just kind of incapacitate them and keep moving and keep running through the woods. And you guys all will be able to escape Ozar at this magnificent kind of infiltration, prison break, as it were, a military incursion. You guys are excellent fighters. There was only one small quest I wanted to highlight in our endeavors, but I guess anything else you guys would like to say to each other as you're leaving? Of course, like, wow, we barely made it out. I can't believe Abraham. It's good to see you. What do you guys want to do or say as you guys are just kind of fleeing? You guys can make it to safety, whatever you want to say at any time.
Did I hear Kor say that?
What Kor said? Yeah.
I turn around. What? Because I wasn't there for any of that. And I hand him a golden chalice.
Kor's like, you've done well, Lorna. A great service to everyone who fights against Ozar. You have my honor.
I would like to, as we're wherever we are, walk up to Abraham and just kind of like, so you're Abraham, yes? I'm glad to see you're safe and well. Many people have strived for such an outcome. I'm just Petra.
Honestly, he is definitely safe. He's not super well. He's pretty bruised up, but he's like, Lovely to meet you. Good to meet you, my lady. Excuse me. She just kind of coughs. She goes into a coughing fit, perhaps, and people are kind of carrying him and walking with him. Anything else you guys would like to say or do? Abraham's pretty out of sorts right now. You can tell.
I think I'm gonna internally think like, oops, sorry we delayed coming to get you by like months or something.
It wasn't months. You guys were okay?
Yeah, but I don't know because I had memory issues.
Not to worry. We are in your deepest debt. Actually, there's a lot of rewards for you to be had, which perhaps we can't highlight them all tonight. We'll go over that next time at the beginning. You're rewarded by the Wood Elves as well as the Knights of the Word. But there is one other little quick jaunt I kind of wanted to mention during tonight. Did a great job of highlighting those adventures. The last one, honestly, you basically did. And I kind of could have triggered it to be more epic, where Glothorin would shine. If you know Glothorin, the Elven Ranger. As you guys can rest back at the Pine Grove, which you have allied now kind of commanded, and the magic of the elves and gnomes can keep it safe for a time. You guys can rest there safely. And in fact, there's also a magical elven healer who could offer you some, perhaps, gifts or training or something like that if you're interested. There's lots of time, but there's also Glothorin who has a sacred quest, which Triticor might be interested in helping with. In fact, you guys spoke briefly, Triticor and Glothorin, about your jaunt up into the Ashen Wood. And Glothorin will have pieced together that you've done a lot of the work, and we kind of just need to finish the mission for the Elder Wood, to kind of go and back into the Ashen Dungeon below that slab of stone with the elven inscription, kind of in the heart of the flaming woods, past the zombie ash figures of the forest. And, you guys will definitely fight some zombies and, scatter their ashes. Eventually, you guys can go down. You slayed a number of massive goblins, really, well, a goblin boss and whatnot, down in these dungeons. And there are statues that, might shoot fireballs at you. But there's this massive red fire underground in the pit of this dark dungeon. And once you guys make it down there, actually not too far off, there's also, just in the next room, a stash of gold. And you guys can carry out, more gold. But Glothorin will say to you, you guys are just in this, large 60-foot, stone cylindrical room. There's this, giant altar table in the middle, basically, which just houses, it's encompassed, really, by this massive red flame. Glothorin, the ranger elf, will say to you guys that the flame is a curse upon the forests, and I've been tasked by a sacred fairy to alleviate this fire, but its magic is elusive. Perhaps you guys can assist in dousing the flame, this magical burning red bright flame, but it also has some darkness which pulls at your soul, as it were. It seems like a terrible flame. It instills fear. But you are asked to try to put it out if you can. What would you all do?
Well, since we've been down there before, and we have fought that bad, or been down there, and I remember making that long-term deposit, I would like to complete that task. And I would like to lift this curse over this Ashen Forest once and for all. I would be glad to help you with this task once we are rested and get Abraham back and make sure that he is healed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can definitely do that. And we'll say that everyone is healed, and you've got the time, and you guys go to the dungeon. Yeah, do you guys have any ideas for putting the fire out?
Have we tried putting dirt on it?
Roll for it, Kyle.
Sometimes the best solution is the simplest one.
There's some dirt about. There's also goblin bodies.
14.
It actually seems perhaps to feed the flame, if anything. What about you, Cassandra? Any ideas?
I mean, if it's a magical flame, Cassandra's only idea would probably be to essentially try and contest it in a battle of magical will. Essentially try to put it out by pure force of magic if it isn't a magical flame.
Yeah, I like your thought process. You guys want to go ahead and act this scene out, and I'll tell you anything you do. I mean, if you want to, obviously, you can try your magic spell. I'll have you roll for that real quick, Cassandra. Yeah. Do you know a fire spell, or what kind of spell are you going to try to do?
I'm not doing
Just
a spell.
Pure magic.
Purely essentially glaring at it and telling it to go out and exerting my force of will in the form of magic.
Yeah, I'll let you roll kind of a will check, like a magic intelligence or whatever.
It's an 18.
Okay, that's with your modifier?
Yes, that's the only thing I'm good at.
You definitely feel some contest of your magical energies that's happening. You feel, in fact, everyone can see around you, Lorna there, who might be at your side, the fire kind of wane and swell again as there's clearly this energy channeling between you and the fire, which seems like you're making some progress, but it snaps backwards and eventually shatters this magical energy around you, and you actually fall backwards, Cassandra, onto the floor on your butt. And that moment is over, but it definitely could have worked, you would think. It was close. Lorna, any thoughts? What would you say and do in this situation?
What would I, or what am I going
Yes.
to do?
What are you going to say as well?
I think I'm gonna try to throw a goblin body on it, honestly, and just see, what are we dealing with? Is it weakened? What happened after
throwing
that?
in some goblin bodies.
Well, just one to see.
Yeah, if anything, it just seems like it feeds the flame. It doesn't get a lot bigger, but if anything, it got a little bigger. It doesn't really have an effect. Yeah. Glawthorn will say, "This is the curse of the once great Dark Lord, according to legend. I'm not sure what we can do against it, but Cassandra, I think you would come closest in rivaling the might of this Dark One. Perhaps it is not for us to complete this day. Still, I thank you for accompanying me here, Errigoldian, Lorna, Cassie, and everyone. Joseph, I assume. So, any last ideas as you kind of lay defeated against this raging magic
Cassandra.
fire?
Step in the fire.
I look at you like crazy. I don't have any kind of freeze spray. What?
I don't know. It's just an idea.
We could buy you a healing potion.
Thanks, Lorena. Is this fire hot?
It is hot. Yeah, it's really hot.
I'm so sorry, Triticor. I'm not sure that giving my life and possibly feeding my own magic to this dark lord is exactly the risk I'd like to take at this moment. Perhaps we can return when we are stronger.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, you guys attempted to extinguish the flame within the deep heart of the burning wood, but nevertheless, you guys can return safely to the Pine Grove with your men and return eventually to Iron Haven through the road, through the pine wood, through the pear wood as well. The skies are somewhat smoky towards the ashen wood, of course, but you exit towards the safer shores of the Poison Lake and Jordan Town. You might fight a stray wild giant beast or monster in the woods, but you guys make it safely. In fact, you're also able to rescue among the host of men and other creatures who you've rescued from Ozar. Notably, of course, there's Abraham, some warriors, and some Knights of the Word you might recognize from previous adventures who were captured. You rescue many men, and they safely return to Iron Haven, as well as Mr. Northwood, who Lorne knows. He owns the Pearwood Inn, the Pear Inn in Iron Haven. And he will tell you of really the initial quest that was madness that resulted in the death of his brother at the hands of a giant, and the treasure map that he initially set out to follow, which led them to kind of the once secluded secret town of the Pine Grove, this mystical place, and these mystical artifacts. In fact, you will learn as well that the magic lamp that Triticor found within that dungeon with the massive flame, the magic fire, might be one of the artifacts they were initially looking for with this quest. Nevertheless, there's great esteem in Ironhaven, but we'll learn about all your rewards and all your new adventures on our next session. So, yeah, thanks for playing. Anything else you guys wanted to say or do?
I think I'm good for this time.
Yeah, just a mumble under my breath about one more dark wizard to deal with.
There's always one more dark wizard.
Yes. Well, thanks for playing, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say, until next time, keep your RPG sharp. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to stop this recording.